Welcome into another edition of the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review. I'm your host, James DiVirgilio, and on this episode, we'll take a look at Florida's offense versus Georgia's defense. Florida started off sensationally well with an excellent drive. Florida put good use of their bye week into this game planning, and then unfortunately, the production just stopped there. Florida did have a few bright sides to this game statistically. 7 yards per carry without the sacks. Of course, the sacks mattered, in which Florida gave up 4, and a 9.2 yards per pass, despite the fact that Florida only threw for 54 air yards. So we continue to see on film a struggle for Florida to consistently connect this season with passes that travel further than a few yards down the field. That, of course, is going to limit you offensively, especially versus a very solid and sound defense like Georgia. As always, if you like this content, sub to this channel, like this video, follow us on social media, check out our podcast each and every Monday, where we bring you in-depth analysis on the Gators, and drop us a dono, where you can support us and our efforts to bring you more of this content for free throughout the year. All right, let's take a look at what the film said about this game on Saturday in Jacksonville.
First play of the game for Florida. This would be the best drive of the game for Florida. And really most of Florida's yards and quality plays came on this drive before the game was quite out of hand in the second half. And Florida picked up a lot of garbage time, if you will, yards and points. But this drive was an excellent drive, one of the best of the Napier era. The bye week definitely paid dividends for the Gators. They took advantage of Georgia's defensive tendencies, and then Georgia after this made a couple of small tweaks to how they played, really just by basically staying in too high almost the entire rest of the game. And here we can see they are not in too high. They're going to rotate their safety down. We have a motion from our tight end. We bring Trey across, and now we get a safety on Trey. And that is an ideal matchup for the Gators. Georgia's safeties cover really well. We talked about this in the podcast. Their safeties and their corners are excellent. The linebackers are where we felt like Florida really needed to attack in the passing game. That largely did not happen. But on this particular drive, Trey on a safety is a good matchup, especially when he's in motion, which we have here. This is a really nice little design. Slant route here, going to get head up on the safety who makes a wrong turn to the outside, and right away we're in great shape here for this dig route that we're running. Nice protection early on from the Gators offensive line. That wouldn't be true all day long, obviously. Right on the face mask, and out of the gate here, Florida with a chunk yardage on the first play. An excellent start. Let's take a look at the All-22 angle here, which CBS, of course, gives us more of these than we do on other broadcasts, so I can use them when CBS uses them. I can't use them otherwise, as most of you know that have followed the channel for quite some time. And this is what this looks like right here. The slant to run off, man-to-man here. Georgia in single high. Cover one, manning up here, and that is a matchup you take. Take your best matchup. That's nice, right? Run this off here. We actually won here. We're trapped here and won here. So you have two nice wins vertically down the field. Nice, easy throw from a clean pocket, as we saw. And then yards after catch because they're in man, and there's no one with eyeballs on that dig route. So really nice start for Florida. One of the things that makes Georgia such a good defense year in and year out under Kirby Smart, besides, of course, the talent, is they get their talent to play sound football. Florida's going to throw a lot at the front seven of Georgia right here. We look like we are running a counter right here. Counter, one more time. Running a guard tight end or guard H-back counter. We're going to run a play fake off of this counter, and what you're hoping is that he is going to chase the counter down the line at least a little bit. All you really need him to do is take maybe one or two steps inside, and he does not do that because he knows that his job, especially versus a Florida team that likes to roll out to the right, likes to slip these guys out, that he needs to stay home. He does stay home, and he is rewarded right here as we cannot contact him. Here comes George. You can't do anything about this. He's already beat you to the edge. He's setting the edge. He's outside of the screen. And now when this ball gets thrown, he's right there to pursue. Now, if he's unable to make this tackle, and in fact, if he takes the candy here in the backfield, this is going to wind up being a big play on 2nd and 7 for a lot of yardage. But this is what good defenses do. They don't give you these simple little plays. They make you earn it, right, with more complicated throws. You can put a lot of window dressing on them, but they don't get their assignments wrong. And that is an impressive thing in college football. It's easy to underrate that and just look at Georgia every year and say they're so talented. But they generally get the most from their talent because they do things like this. And if you're Florida, this play, you could say, man, we almost had it. But in reality, you never had it, right? You never had it. You're never going to get this block. You're relying on this guy to eat your fake. And it's a quality play. There's nothing wrong with it. But illustrating that if this happens, this play is no longer any good. You're counting on him taking the bait. And with Georgia, they often don't take the bait. That's why it's hard, again, to get easy yards on them. All right, 3rd and 9. I just showed you a screen play that didn't work. Here's one that is going to work. Florida now on a 2-back set. I really like this look for Florida when Trey's in the game, in large part because of what we talked about on the podcast, especially versus a team like Georgia, where I think their weakness, their greatest weakness on defense in the pass game are their linebackers. And they're certainly adequate, but that is where you can get them. And so now you have Trey matched up on a linebacker. Give me that, please. Something, again, you see the Miami Dolphins do in the NFL quite frequently with Tyreek Hill is they're going to force even a corner to run and play in here, right? It messes up run fit. It messes up a lot of stuff by doing this. And you're going to get this look. They're going to bring the unblocked end in. He sees no running back threat. Running back's out here. This is obviously not a handoff. His role now is to get to the quarterback, which is what Florida's counting on. You bring Khalil on a slant right here to set up the block on the linebacker who is responsible for Trey. And now you have a foot race with a rub between your slant, right, and then Trey. And Trey's going to win that every single time as long as we don't have the corner blowing the play up. It's a good ball by Mertz on the outside shoulder. Not perfect, but good enough that he's able to turn right away, which is key. If the ball's any more behind him, he's probably going to get tackled. But he's able to make this catch and then turn the corner just enough here to get this first down, right? A huge conversion on 3rd down and 9 to keep the drive alive. Florida early on going to set the tone physically here with a little inside zone run. We're going to bring things in tight. We're going to finish this run off with Montrell. The nice hit here. Offensive line going to get a decent little push to start things off. Decent push to start things off. But then really, split zone play here. Georgia staying home, right? Filling up their gaps. Nothing to get that's going to be significant here. However, as we get through this, look at this right here. Montrell lowers the shoulder. Look at the helmet go back here. Bam. Right? That's good. If you're going to take 3 yards, you want your opponent to feel that right there. That's nice inside run by Florida. It's not pretty. It's not going to be 10 yards, but as a physical running team, as Billy Napier wants to be, in the future, Florida's going to have to see more of this and more of this, right? Pancaking linemen. That's going to be the goal for Florida down the road. We don't get that as often, of course, as we need to get it, especially against premier opponents. But on this particular play, there's some good stuff on film of the physicality Florida was trying to set early in this game, knowing they needed to match the physicality Georgia would bring. 2nd and 7 now. Florida's going to go to an empty set, which if you have been fans of this channel for any amount of time, or following the channel rather, you know I love empty sets, especially I think if you have a weaker offensive line. This might be counterintuitive, but I think the quick game is one of the best ways to take advantage of a poor offensive line pass blocking wise. You can get the ball out quickly and you have a lot of space. You have instant matchups, easy quarterback reads. Writing off your Mertz, you know you have 2x2 out here. Sure, they can drop him back, but if they do, it's easy for your offensive line to pick up these 4 guys, even if they're twisting and stunting. So it's unlikely they will. So it gives you a clear picture of what's happening post-snap. It's a quick read. Even if they bring the extra man, which they are, you should be able to do exactly this, get your feet set, and run several concepts here that can stress the defense because obviously in this scenario, right, if you can win one of these matchups, you have a lot of space. And you're going to see that happen with Florida here. This is a well-designed play. We're going to send Ricky here. It's a rub play, right? It's like a little rub screen. It's a really good design play because basically if we deliver this ball correctly, look what we got here. Surprise, surprise, right? Here comes a pulling guard. And now we've got essentially a tunnel screen. It's going to be a really, really nice play right here. And right here, if we freeze it, this is awesome, right? This should be a big play. It should have been a big play. This is bottled up here, and bottled up here, just like you would draw this play up. And I think Trey just catches the ball at this moment in time and perhaps doesn't really recognize that his guy's buried over here, and all he needs to do is follow the actual play design. He's going to be one-on-one with a safety with a chance to score. Instead, he actually goes backwards here and then turns this play into a whole lot of nothing. But that's a great play design and actually really good execution minus Trey himself. And here's a look of what this play would have looked like. Basically the end zone cam or the quarterback view here. Imagine your Mertz. Again, he knows right away he's coming. That's okay. He has time for this, and this is why I like this. Look, you can take advantage of teams that do this. Look at all the space we have out here. These are easy reads for a quarterback. Easy reads. He knows Ricky's got that block. He's got space to make this throw. He can't come down in time to affect it. And he also knows he's got a guard getting out there. It's a good job by Leonard to get there and right here freeze it. If we come out through this hole, he's out. One-on-one versus a safety could be a tutty, right? Could be a tutty. Trey's fast enough that guy's not going to catch him from there. He's going to be head up on him. Instead, we get what we get. But no worries, the next play is coming. This play is a prime example of what talent will do for you when you do get the one-on-one matchup that you want. Motion across Khalil, safety comes down. Again, we know for sure they're going to sit in some version of single high. Again, Georgia can do different stuff out of this, but most likely going to be single high, which means Mertz knows this slant is probably going to be won, even though he's facing a corner by Trey. That's a matchup he'll take any day of the week, and Trey, a freshman, absolutely slays this matchup right here, head up, wins significantly and easily, and now we're throwing a very safe 1-yard pass right here on the slant, basically a 4-yard pass at the slant level, and we're off to the races, right? It's 3rd and 6. We have our first down, but we could have more because you got a guy who's electric with the ball in his hands, and Arliss does a really nice job to engage this block downfield. Look at that. Huge play by Arliss. He definitely gets the assist on this. Excellent work to finish this play off. Spring Trey in to the backfield there, into the secondary, and then able to score, able to finish this play off for a touchdown, right? So huge opening drive by Florida featuring Trey, a freshman obviously recruited by Billy. It's a good sign for the future with who Billy is selecting versus elite athletes at Georgia. He looks like an elite athlete himself. Florida's on the board. Great start. Everything Florida could want. Unfortunately, this would be the peak experience for the Gators. Just about everything on offense would go downhill from here. This is a well-designed play by Georgia. Florida starts off in essentially an empty sort of set, 3-by-1. ETN then going to slide back over. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of signaling by Georgia here on this play. And then you're still going to get a jet sweep motion from Ricky. Now let's watch how Georgia handles this. Of course, in the past, you'll see teams potentially have their safety come down, their split safety, which you've seen that a lot. They might chase across if they're in man, right? But Georgia going to handle this in a way that I, of course, like, especially as a throw-up option. There's risk to this, but essentially you're going to have your outside backer here or your nickel, depending on what you're in, your apex defender, if you will, going to just stay eyes in the backfield on whoever comes out to him in the flat. You're going to bring your safety and run fit, and then also pass coverage, depending on what happens with the result of this play, down on the inside. So rather than bring him to the outside, you bring him straight down on the inside, then you allow him to match up with whoever is coming into the flat, and that allows a very easy exchange, right? You're going to take your outside backer here. He's going to apply pressure right out of the gate, apply pressure right to the right side shoulder, knowing Florida likes to roll out these concepts to the right, and this gives you all of the proper spacing to cover these kinds of plays that Florida runs, as long as Florida's not actually running the ball. That's kind of the risk here, is if you bring this kind of rotation and Florida does hand the ball off, of course, Florida can get you, right? They can gouge you. You can also run RPOs off this. A lot you can do, but if you're going to basically face Florida's base play most of the time, it's a good look because you're already outside containing this route. That's going to be dead. You're giving an athletic linebacker a pursuit to your quarterback here. That's going to be dead. You're already walling this off with your defender here. Then your safety's in the box, and he is free to play this, which is going to be knowing this route typically comes over his head. He's just going to haul over here to the sideline, watch the quarterback's eyes, and flow with wherever that ball goes. This play is dead on arrival. It's a good play call by Georgia. You still get a completion here from Mertz, obviously, which is nice to get a little something out of nothing. But it's a perfect play call from Georgia at the right time. Again, scouting Florida's tendencies, recognizing that Florida obviously likes to do this right here, something, of course, teams across the country know, and getting a good stop on first down. Florida driving the ball again, having some success running the football as well, having a lot of success with Trey. So in theory, running a reverse might be a good idea. Get the defense flowing. Notice now Georgia's not bringing anyone in the box. In fact, you've got off your screen here basically an umbrella on the back end. Content to play here and shift with Trey. That's why Florida's thinking is they're going to play safe on the back end. We should be able to get the defense moving this way, hit them with Ricky coming out the back end. So the theory here is, in fact, sound. I am not a big fan of these styles of plays in general for a wide variety of reasons. One is which, if it doesn't work, you're losing yards almost every time, and it doesn't take much for it not to work. As long as one guy stays home and the exchange itself is not perfect, that may be enough, which is what happens here. Now, if you do hit this perfectly, oftentimes you're basically having a run play go for 10, 15 yards. That's why it does have merit. And at the time Florida's calling it here, it makes sense because they do get everything they want. All of Georgia's defense, except for one player, is flowing with this, and you've got the rest of Georgia's defense off the ball, right? This is the ideal look with what you want. You've got Khalil coming here to seal this block here, and then you also have, coming out here, down the field is ETN, and then you have George up here. So assuming the timing was correct on this, if you get this block here, you actually have potential for a big play. The only problem is the bobble that occurred back here on the exchange, way far away from Ricky, causes this to throw off all the timing, and this is significant. You may think it's not significant. It's significantly significant because you needed Ricky to be already out here so that this block that Khalil gets is going to be right there as you see him block him, and that's enough for him to win the edge or to take the inside. And of course, we just don't get that. So now you've got a player right in the way, and Ricky's going to make him, really just tackle him short of the line of scrimmage, and you're going to lose 2 yards here. So momentum in Florida's case, I don't hate the play call. I think the execution there failed Florida. It's the right time to potentially try that because of how successful Trey had been, and it is a safe play, generally speaking. Florida takes a 2-yard loss, which really is generally not going to be a big deal here. If you're playing offense, sometimes you'll lose yards. And, in a game where, of course, you move the ball and score more, no big deal. In this case for Florida, 2 yards. As the game went on, would have felt like 15 or 20 yards. And so we'll take a look at what happens next. 2nd and 12, Florida going to start with a more aggressive approach here in the formation and then motion everyone into a bread and butter staple of Billy Napier's offense that Florida has not been really too successful in to the degree that Billy would like Florida to be successful. And that's 12 personnel. Bunch the field up, 2 wide receivers here, and playing inside zone or outside zone football, and especially here inside zone football. So really, for an inside zone team, this is your power look, right? You're going to want to wind up lining up here in heavy package 12 personnel, run right down the middle, inside zone down here, inside zone there. It can be either way, symmetrical formation. And in an ideal world, your O-line is bullying the D-line, even if they have a 7-man box right here, because you're heavy. And they're still relatively normal compared to your look, and you're just powering through. Not going to be the case here versus Georgia. Florida 2nd and 12, again, a less aggressive approach than what we saw perhaps against South Carolina, where Florida threw the ball a lot in these second down situations. Florida going to try here, see if we can't get something going in the run game. And right away, Florida's trying to run an inside zone. We're going to double here for a second, slide off, try to get the mic right there. And then we're going to push him out, hold him out, and then hopefully seal this here for the gap. Unfortunately, although we do clear here and we get here, we do not win right there. So that's the key block that is not going to allow this to occur. It's going to be Kingsley unable to get head up, turning his defender this way, which is the goal. And you can see we've done that successfully here, but not here. Kingsley is now losing this battle. You can see he's in the gap ETN wants to go into. And now that that's gone, our goal is to keep working this out as far as we can. Hold this here so we can get the edge. That's not going to happen either. We break free of Barber's block, and now ETN says I got really nowhere to go. Let me just dive it in here and take what I can get. So Florida does pick up a couple of yards on 2nd and 12. That sets up a 3rd and long. I think Billy there is hoping to get probably 4 or 5 yards to set up a 3rd and manageable. But as we've seen Florida before versus premier opponents, especially when you're playing a team with a similar style, right? Georgia wants to play a football game similar to what Billy Napier wants to play. It is definitely hard to beat an opponent that has a lot more talent than you playing a similar way, right? That's a very tall task, and that's largely what Florida faced in this football game, and you're seeing it on display here early on. 3rd down now for the Gators. Important 3rd down, facing a tall task again here. Georgia number 1, Florida 112th. This season on 3rd down, something we've been following on the channel consistently. Passing downs are not good in Billy's offense historically. Generally speaking, he's had a year or two where he's been fine. But generally speaking, 3rd and 11 is hard for anyone. 3rd down and 5 or longer is especially hard for Billy Napier's teams throughout his history in general. 3rd and 11 versus Georgia, an extremely tall task, but let's see what Florida can come up with. On this one, we're going to smash concept at the top of your screen right here. Arliss going to come out and hit an out. Could also be a hitch, whichever one you want, but he's going to run an out route. And then you're going to get a corner route here from Ricky. Georgia's going to play this correctly. What happens here, your dropping defender is going to read the break of the number 2 receiver. And if he breaks right here, he's going to call smash, 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 or a different call if they want to have a different name for it. But that's going to tell your apex defender to move over and take this away, and he's going to drop back and sink on the smash. You're going to watch this happen here. He's going to split the difference. He's sinking on this corner route. Mertz, it looks like, is throwing the corner route. And on the camera here, as you're going to see on the next angle, he thinks he's got a pick on this play if the ball is thrown. We'll never know. We'll never know what happens because pressure comes in here. Florida's right tackle, the Alabama transfer, Damian George, we've talked about a lot, who I think really would be a better guard. Still not, a really significantly impactful guard, but at least I think an SEC level guard is playing, in my opinion, a position he's just not suited for at right tackle. We've seen him have issues with speed rush all year long. Doing his best. He's obviously doing his best out there. This is just a bad matchup for him. And he gets speed rushed off the edge. He's trying his best to get Mertz a little window and a little pocket, and he almost does, except right here, the ball is going to get batted down. So this play is all for naught. In all reality, if Mertz throws this route here, this defender is reading this play correctly, which I believe he is. He's going to clamp down on this. And if he throws the corner, it's got to be a very precise throw into this small window where he can beat that dropping corner. Now, that potentially could have happened. We're never going to know. But as you see from the reaction, the dropping corner thinks he's got a pick. Now, thankfully, Florida falls on this ball, allowing them to punt at the end of this drive. There's your speed rush, and here comes your corner route. Now, here you go. There's your corner. There's your safety. This is the window. This is the throw you want to make, right, versus cover 2. This is the exact throw you're looking for. Corner route, cover 2. You're a quarterback. Take this throw. You got to fit it in here. If you're a defensive team, you're trying to flex between both of these right here, split the difference, and then make this throw be perfect. And let's see if we get his reaction here on film, which we may not on this camera angle, which would be a shame. And let's see. You can kind of tell. Not ideal. But basically, he's jumping up and down not because he thinks this happened, but because he thinks he had a pick. Now, maybe he does not have a pick. I don't know, right? He might have had one. Either way, bottom line is Florida does not convert on third down. Good concept versus cover 2. It's the right concept right there. Quarterback that well, you get a chance to move the sticks. Unfortunately, here we get beat on a speed rush, and that's going to knock Florida off and force them to punt. So Florida wins round 1, 7-3. Georgia wins round 2, 7-0. And now we're into round 3. What can Florida get going on offense? 3rd down and 5. Important conversion here. Georgia following. Looking like we got man again. Florida going to do what most of you probably already know is coming. If you've watched this channel before, on 3rd down and 5, 4th down and 5, 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 3rd and 4, in situations where the game is tight or on the line, we're going to hit a slant route. And look, I love slants. You can run double slants, whatever you want. Slants are a great route all the time, especially versus man, especially if you can win them and the safety cannot come and help. Here you go. Open up. No, we have man. Khalil sets him up. Gets a win. Right there. Really nice separation at the point of contact. Give your quarterback a nice, easy throw lane here. Offensive line holding up well. This linebacker does not get in the throw window of Mertz, and that allows for this completion right there. And then for what hopefully was a first down. What felt like a first down. Certainly if it's not a first down, he's like barely short. Of course, as all of us know, this ball is going to get spotted back further than that, which is hard to explain, and it's not going to be a first down at the end of the first quarter, which will change this game, at least in the short run. Do I think this impacted the end outcome? No, I do not. There's plenty of plays in this football game where Georgia's, I think, dominance would exert itself, but at this stage of the game, this is a huge moment, and if this ball is thrown better, this does not occur, right? This ball is thrown quite behind him. Notice where he catches it. This ball's thrown in front of him. He walks in for this first down. So very good slant route by Khalil. Not a great ball by Mertz. Not a bad ball, not a great ball. You're making him slow down, but Florida's still a bit unlucky here not to pick up this first down when it's this close. Looks like he's right there, right? He's right close to it, and that's going to bring up a very, very crucial 4th down. 4th and inches. Florida looks like they're going to quarterback sneak, right? We come out of the pistol. We come down into the quarterback sneak. Georgia then adjusts for the quarterback sneak, tighten up the splits, get ready to come underneath this. In all reality, in my opinion, there are two ways to handle this. One is you take your quarterback sneak, and that's going to be 95% of the time you take that if you feel like you can get it. Number two is you go for a home run, and that is sound thinking as an underdog. You go for a home run. 4th down and inches, 2nd down and 1. There are these plays that offer you significant EV or expected value because the defense is going to sell out to stop you, right? They're going to really sell out to stop you. Now, the only problem is this early in the game on your own side of the field, Georgia is probably not going to die on the hill to stop you from getting this 4th down. They're going to do all they can to stop your quarterback sneak, but they're probably not going to sell out like they would later in the game when all these guys are going to be in the box and they're saying, you're absolutely not going to run this. We'll make you throw it. You can have it. A little bit tougher look. And what happens for Florida, of course, in hindsight, is the worst case scenario. Now, as Florida as this goes, we can't judge this and say Florida's not going to get this quarterback sneak because the way Florida's blocking here is not to block for a sneak. So we don't know, right? We can't judge that. But we can judge the play call itself and say, is this sound design? Now, one, Georgia's going to play this really, really well, right? Florida's collapsing all this in here, selling out all this stuff in here, hoping that this fake will draw everyone in. But again, this is Georgia. Georgia is too sound for that. He's got his eyes on the backfield. Even though it's 4th and inches, he knows that's not his job. He's going to stay right here on the edge. Going to do his job in case he bounces it outside, right? This is very, very smart. And then as Etienne goes to break it out, he's got a man in his face, and we got problems. We got problems, right? Here comes Ricky across the formation being chased by a linebacker. That's why Florida liked this play, being chased by a linebacker, thinking we can certainly hit him on this flat route and maybe get a big play. If they don't guard Khalil over the top, maybe get a huge play. Khalil's going to get held here as he tries to break over the top for the home run. That's really not going to be there. It's going to be hard to get that call. And then Ricky, although he's going to be here, this is not ideal to have your running back throwing this pass here. Etienne gets a face mask probably right there. There's a little face mask for you. Florida maybe could have gotten bailed out. It's definitely a face mask. Didn't grab onto it for super long, but there's one. Could have gotten a bailout. But no such bailout here, despite Etienne's efforts to get back to the line of scrimmage. Kirby's fired up about it. Napier's not fired up about it. This guy right here, this guy is, this is probably really all of us in reality. Just, this is what it's like to be a Gator fan. Why can't we have nice things, right? We can't. We cannot have nice things. It's the reality. We just can't have them. So what goes wrong on this play? One, I'm fine with the mentality. Like I said, you want to hit home run, there's a good chance to do it. Have a play for it. Two, this particular play is going to have a hard time hitting a home run when Georgia's playing like this. This is just not going to have a lot of success. Georgia is ready for something here. They are absolutely ready. Also, this is important to me. This is a detail thing. This is occurring coming out of the quarter. When you have a challenge going on and in the coach's ear, it's highly likely that Florida is either going to have a 1st down or a 4th down. And there's no sense in preparing for the 1st down because you'll line up normally. But for the 4th down, you were having those conversations for an extended amount of time during that break, and you're discussing, what do you think Florida will do here? Hey, let's make sure they don't hit us with a big play. Make them earn it down the field. If they want to take the short one, we'll give it to them. We're going to line up and, play football, but we're not going to commit our resources here. We're keeping 4 guys back, a 5th guy with eyes on the ball. They are telling you they are ready for this play. So we love game theory in the podcast. Essentially, this is Kirby saying, I know what you are going to do, Billy, and I'm going to put my defense according to that move, and I think you're going to take a shot. So therefore, this play, using game theory, does not become a good play because your opponent is expecting you to do it. So then Billy would have to have a design to counter that. Well, I know you're going to keep these guys back here, so my play design will trump that, but this play design does not trump that. You've got your receiver here in Khalil, who they're going to guard, right? We're going to guard this. He is still back here, so let's imagine a world where Etienne rolls out. Here's Ricky. He's helping on Ricky, and you keep Ricky in. He's still covering this. So if Ricky just stays in, he drops back. Now Ricky comes across. He comes down to help, right? He's flexing either way. Either way, he's flexing. So that means if he comes down to help, what are they doing? They're trusting that this pass by ETN is going to be perfect in order to beat a guy playing man here. Now look, Khalil is getting held there for sure. He's getting held. He's getting mauled right here. Ball doesn't go to him. If it does, perhaps we get a call. But that's tough on 4th and 1. You're ideally looking for, I think, a wide open receiver on this play. If your trick play works, you want somebody to be wide open. Georgia ready for this play, right? All over it, locked in, great call. I mean, this is excellent defensive call. It's just a really good call. Mentality-wise, like I said, I like the general concept at certain times of going for a home run on 4th and inches if it offers you the opportunity. I think pre-snap right here, the wise thing to do for Florida would have been to line up like this, get into your look, and then decide right now. Tell Mertz, don't snap it yet. Confirm with me, right? Look over one more time. And then when you see this look here, you know, when you see this look here, this many guys back here, right? Here it is. This is not a good look for you. There's too many defenders that are head up on your play. Too many guys that are in your passing lane. You just void it, cancel it, kill it, whatever. Call timeout. Instead, Florida says we're going full sellout mode here, and there you go. Huge play in this football game, setting up Georgia with a very short field and a 10-7 lead. And just like that, Georgia up 17-7 on Florida. Florida in desperate need of a drive here. 1st down and 10. Billy loves to pass on 1st down. Passing on 1st down is a great EV move in general. Georgia going to bring pressure, going to bring 5. Drop a guy out here, so it's just 5 and not 6. Mertz going to open up an attempt to hit a big play that is not there, and then he's not going to throw the ball away, and then we're going to take a sack, right? ETN gets beat in pass protection here, one-on-one in the gap. He comes in correctly. He's there to meet him. He gets slipped. It's a nice individual play by an excellent linebacker. Tough matchup there for ETN, and that is a really nice play, right? So that's an example of a player making a play. Florida has the proper blocking setup here, has the protection correct. If ETN gets this block here one-on-one in the hole and holds him up at least a little bit, it's a different scenario. Secondarily speaking, let's talk about the routes Florida's running here. We've talked a lot about the ability, of course, for Florida to run what I would like to call some more, and this is, again, a call that Florida might have in the book. Let me just say, like I always say, I have no idea what the play call options are here. It's possible that pre-snap Mertz could have a hot call on here where he's telling Ricky, hey, look, if this guy comes, turn and look at me. I'm going to hit you right here in this window. That's entirely possible, right? It could be something that's there. I don't know that for sure. So we'll talk about what could be there and obviously what happened in the play so you get an idea. Because, again, I don't know. I can't know. I have no idea, right? So here you go. We're going to get pressure on the A-gap. And this is where Ricky, right here, is obviously wide open. Now, in the NFL, oftentimes you're going to do this automatically. If you're in a play call like this and you see this, you're just going to snap your head around. Quarterback knows it. You know it. You're on the same page. See Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes doing that stuff all the time. Instead, Ricky's going to run his route all the way here. He's trying to get across this dropping zone defender to get in this window. Well, that's going to take a while. We've got to make sure we block that up. And you can see Mertz already leaves that. That's not going to be there, despite the fact that, again, Ricky right now, as you're saying, is wide open. He's completely wide open. So why is Mertz not throwing the football? Because he's not looking. Look at Ricky, look at Ricky, look at Ricky. Now he looks. Because his route isn't available to be caught until he gets right there. So Mertz can't throw it to him, right? Again, that's kind of maddening. He knows he's open. He can tell no one is going to cover him, and this is the soft spot in the zone. But again, a lot of college teams don't have this. Some do. Some definitely do. But Florida generally, from what I've seen, does not have this. Or at least it needs to be a call from Mertz, which, again, I can't know. But on film, we're not seeing a lot of the scenarios where you should see someone stop in a soft spot and say, oh yeah, here we go, bam. He's just going to run this out, right? He's taking that out. Secondary, the same thing could be true over here with Arliss. Let's watch Arliss on the left side. Arliss opens up. Their simulated pressure has no chance of getting there to them. They're dropping this corner back. You can easily, right now, let's say, again, Ricky has to go over here, but let's say he's on an option route or he's on the ability to stay soft. You come off this route and look to your left, which Mertz does eventually right here. Now you have this throw, but Mertz knows the throw is still to go here. So he's going to run right into this. Now that's obviously where Mertz should, in my opinion, right now, throw a back shoulder ball to Arliss. This is the time to throw it. Right now he looks, put this ball up, back shoulder, but I think he hesitates a second, climbs, is probably going to make a throw like that. And as Florida's luck would have it, The protection breaks down, and now Mertz thinks, I can't get that ball off, and down we go. So, again, frustrating scenario there. Mertz reads it out correctly. You actually have two open guys. You have one guy really open, but no option to get him the football because his route is not actually available until over there, which tells you that Georgia's play design on defense is actually solid here, despite the fact that these players are wide open because they're sitting in the lanes Florida is ultimately trying to get into, which is denying the play Florida is running. So hopefully that is an interesting analysis of a play, what can be done, what can't be done. And again, for the record, for the third time, I do not know what the play call is. I don't know what the options are. The job of film study here is to just show you what could be done, theoretically, how other teams may handle it, what we see Florida doing. And if you watch enough of these, of course, you can make your own inferences on what you think Florida does and does not do. But on this case, Florida has theoretically an opportunity to convert and then instead takes a sack, which is going to put them obviously in a tough spot. Coming into the game, Georgia had not been generating a lot of pressure, something we covered on the podcast as well. Thought that could help Florida. As you can see, they already have 2 sacks early on in this part of the game. And what do you think is going to happen here on 2nd down and 19? Well, first of all, Florida's going to have a wide open set of receivers. Arliss is going to be completely open. And so right here is going to be Khalil. Both of them open on this play coming across the formation. However, unfortunately, we're going to have a Damian George issue here with another speed rush that is going to move Mertz off the spot. He is going to try to climb and throw this ball anyway to where we have a wide open Arliss. And as he goes to throw it right here, he's going to get it stripped. There it is, stripped out. And then Georgia, as good football teams do, don't underestimate this. Right here, heads up play. He's going to come in and just grab Mertz. So Mertz cannot go back and get the ball. If he does not grab Mertz, Mertz actually gets this ball. Watch 78. Going to grab Mertz and just throw him down over here and allow his boys to get there first. That's good defense. 11 playing is 1, right? Good defense there. But Florida does have a wide open receiver there. The route combinations work perfectly. The protection does not hold up. Perhaps for the future, what's concerning for Florida is despite how good Florida's recruiting is at a lot of other positions for 2024, it is not, at least on paper, good really for the offensive line. That certainly is going to be a problem for Florida because every single year you can expect Georgia to be like they are this year, where they're not even that great compared to their previous teams, at least statistically, where they have 7 basically 4- and 5-star players, mostly 5-star players in the front 7. So that's an uphill battle for you. If you're Florida, you don't have but 2 blue chippers on your entire offensive line, and neither of those 2 guys are playing right now. You got 1 in the class for next year. So how do you overcome this issue where you're going to face a team that's superior to you talent-wise, and they're speed rushing you like this? And even if your receivers are open, even if they're all excellent, you got to have time to get in the ball. So obviously this rears its head again here. The 3rd sack, massive play, becomes another very short field for Georgia's offense, where they would wind up punching this ball in again and basically almost ending this game, right? Florida's on life support. They're still alive, but almost ending this football game. Florida now in a must-score situation, or certainly a must-drive situation. Need to get something going here. Ricky motions across. Let's watch again how Georgia handles this. They're not going to chase it. They're not going to do anything fancy, but they are going to do something, again, nice. This is a really smart play. You're going to take your apex defender on the side. He knows Ricky's motioning, which means he's just going to come right in here in the C gap and clean up anything Florida may want to run to this side as an unblocked defender. And there's Khalil, who's trying to get there for a block on him. That's the idea, right? The idea is that he doesn't do what he does. Unfortunately, perfect play call here from Georgia, reading Florida's mail. And now you have an unblocked defender right in here. Funnel him into the gap. Wrap up. Take a loss. So 1st down and 10 becomes a slight loss for Florida. 2nd and 10, we ran it last time we had a 2nd and long. And this time, Florida's going to go back to the well of what really Billy likes to run a lot. Play action fake here. Play action orbit motion and a 2 wide receiver route. Can these work? Of course they can work. The reality is for Billy Napier of Florida, we have not had a lot of success with just 2 guys going out in the pattern on play action on any down. That has not worked out for us here. Georgia's double covering both receivers, which we've also seen before. Here's your check down. That's dead. Here's your other check down. That's dead. Right there, all over this play. Again, Georgia's an excellent defensive team with excellent talent, but one reason they are excellent is they look at your tendencies. They look at what you like to do the most. They know in a long football game, eventually you're going to want to come back to what you like to do the most. You can't just be out of character the whole game. You can't just throw the ball to Trey every single time on man routes. It's not going to give you those man routes for Trey to run. They are dictating to Florida, saying you're going to have to move the ball, doing something different, and Mertz does the only thing he could do here, which is throw the football away. Of course, one could argue, and I would argue, that with Trey, the game plan should have obviously just kept giving him the ball, right? He's your best player on offense. Find a million different ways to put him in and keep him impactful, and just retire some of the stuff that obviously has not been working versus premier teams, right? This stuff, I think you can just kind of bet on it. These good teams are not going to let you run some of these concepts, not with the roster as it's currently constructed, and you're essentially throwing plays away at times like these. But for Florida, things are unraveling quickly, and now it becomes third down. All right, 3rd down and 10. Again, we mentioned Florida needed to be able to attack Georgia's linebackers. That was going to be the best possible option. Unfortunately, Florida does not really throw routes to their running backs a lot, which was going to be a problem with that game plan. But you do see Florida here on 3rd down and 10 attempt to execute this concept with a rub. This is going to be Montrell coming underneath a rub. Unfortunately, this is not well timed. Again, the details on some of what Florida does are lacking here, and this is not going to rub anyone, right? It's too fast. If you're Montrell, you need to be directly underneath him, and that means he needs to slow his route down enough so that you can get underneath him to free him. In the ideal world, you get a linebacker running into your wake here. You might hit him enough that Montrell catches the ball here, gets a first down and maybe more, but instead there's zero interference there. He's on top of that route. It's what Mertz is looking at. And of course, we're also throwing, if you're asking, yes, we're throwing short of the sticks. Yep, no doubt. But the concept here is right in that you're trying to attack a linebacker. Are there many ways to do it? There certainly are. At least Florida is trying to get that largely right here. Not surprisingly, the guy who won the most on his route was Trey. He ran a dig route in here, and he did win. Ball could have gone to him. But the first play look is there. And as we come around here to begin to check the backside, good quarterback by Mertz, by the way. This is solid. Right away, open up, look. Now that's not there. It's not going to get there. Let's snap around to my dig option, which is what you're going to have. And now you got a guy all around you, pocket collapsing, right? And you're going down. So not enough time, flag on the field as well, but not enough time there to be able to make that happen anyway. And so it's really tough, right? If you get just one look, that's what good defenses do. You get one read. If your first read is not there, you're probably not getting to your second read with Florida's current offensive line. I don't care who is quarterbacking with you. That's not a recipe for success. And so Florida's offensive line here is rearing its unfortunately unproductive head in this football game. Something that was certainly known to all of us. It's not a surprise. This is not surprising, but of course it is affecting and hurting Florida here. Despite, by the way, it's worth mentioning, the best efforts of all of these gentlemen. It's not like they're not trying their hardest. They certainly are. Tough matchup for anybody. But Florida's O-line, an especially tough matchup, and it's just not working out as this game wears on. On the first punt for Florida, they had 3 protectors in. This time they're going to move the protector up to the edge here. Georgia then going to load up right here. 3 attackers are going to send the punt block in. Florida motions across. Got Gunner locked up in man here, not surprising. And then we have Armageddon, ball break loose here. You gotta, right here. What you got to do is you got to slow up both of these guys, right? Both of these guys have got to get slowed up, and instead we get just one of them, and that's what's going to allow this block to occur. We don't get both. We get just one. There it is. Middle guy's through, and now the protector, there's only 2 of them. They can't get all 3 of them. He's burst of speed, and he is out of there, right? Block. One more time, you got to get both of them. You got to hold up both of them. We only really get one of them. He's locked up here, but he's through, right? So right here is through. There he goes. And we're in. And fortunately for Florida, this ball bounces, obviously, right there out of bounds. Otherwise, it could have been a touchdown for Georgia. Instead, it's just a safety. But this blows the game absolutely wide open. And then there's a better look at what we just saw. It's 3v2. You like those odds if you're Georgia. It's 3v2, and he sneaks by basically unblocked right here. And now you got one here, one here. The protector's got to take the guy who's in the lead, which is him. And we're in trouble. No doubt something Georgia picked up on film and thought they could exploit versus Florida if they went to a two-man protection scheme, which is what they did. Got what they wanted, got it done. So Georgia winning in all three phases, which you expect a championship football team to do. 2nd and 8 here, and you're not going to get an angle of this. I debated even showing it to you, but it's important to show because Florida takes a shot here that they should have gotten rewarded with at least a holding call on. They do not. And again, this game was not decided by the refs, but I like that Florida's taking a shot here on 2nd and 8 at their own 20, especially with the matchup they get here, which is favorable. Good matchup, take advantage of it. Ricky's going to run an in and up and get held tremendously here. You're not going to see any of this. It's where Mertz is actually throwing the football. The ball Mertz throws looks like he overthrew him by a mile. And you're going to see Ricky right here signaling what he thinks is an obvious flag. And he's totally right. And when he sees right here as we're breaking down that it's not coming, he really can't believe it, and rightfully so. I mean, a tremendous amount of holding went on there. He beat him mightily with that in and up move, but not called by the officials. A missed opportunity for a first down for Florida. I like that call, though. Florida should do that every time. If you get a favorable matchup and you get Ricky on a safety or Ricky on a guy that's favorable, take him on a double move. Same goes with Trey. That's what you need to do in these games. You need to generate explosive plays. So I like the play design there, being the individual route of Ricky versus a guy he can beat with a double move. We get time. We unfortunately get held and do not get rewarded. But again, good decision there. 3rd down and 8 now for Florida on their own end. Things are getting ugly in this situation. Of course, you do have on the bottom of your screen, which is not circled by me, but a matchup one-on-one with Khalil. He's going to peek this, and Khalil looks like he's got his head down, kind of getting owned. Okay, he's looking, okay, I can't go there. He looks then at Arliss, which he should look at Arliss. It's your next best option right here at Arliss. And in reality, he has this throw, right? Now, Barber's about to get beaten on a speed rush. This throw is not quite ready for this window, but this is where if you're merged, sometimes you just got to make a play, right? You're down by a bunch. Just let it fly. It's a time to take a risk. But if he puts this ball into grass right here where the official is, he should have this ball to Arliss. No one can stop that play. This linebacker's flat-footed, can't get there. Again, you're getting pressure. He feels it. He takes the check down right here before he gets sacked. This play, of course, is going a whole lot of nowhere. Trey still makes some yardage out of that, but that's going to bring up 4th down, and Florida on to punt again. 2-minute drill after Florida runs for a first down on a first down. Brings up yet another first, and I love this play design because, of course, I love 4 verticals. Vertical here, and a vertical here, vertical here, and a vertical here. But a really nice over route here to Ricky, and an excellent throw by Mertz. Right here is the matchup you have. He is looking at the number 3 receiver, 1, 2, 3, and he's got him all the way vertical. There is a safety to help, but he's got to carry him vertically. That's the matchup you want if you're Florida. They get it in this situation. They get good enough protection. Got a hand coming in our face here. But we get good enough protection to get this ball off, and that is indeed a good enough ball, right? Ideally, you want this ball thrown out here. If we're in the NFL, put this junk out here, but it's a good enough ball. He's got to drop that in over that Georgia defender, underneath the safety. You will take that throw. You'll take that yardage. And Florida's in business here in the 2-minute drill. They do not get the ball to start the second half. However, any score here would at least do something to stem the momentum. Very next play, 1st and 10. Florida, I think, should have had another holding call here. Khalil Jackson going to run a corner route. Mertz going to deliver what should be a pretty good ball here as, again, he gets pressure in the face as Georgia brings pressure. It's not funny, but it is funny. And then a lot of holding is going on. Holding was going on over here too, so it's not just that angle. He held him early on the break, and you can see Florida's sideline reacting here. And then you can see Billy Napier reacting, right? This is frustration. I know Billy Napier said after the game, of course, there's a lot of good people in Birmingham. And, they're doing all their best on the job here. And again, officiating is not why Florida lost that game. When I talk about officiating in these games, I don't talk about it to cry about the officiating. That's actually totally the opposite. I do it to illustrate that's a good play that Florida ran. The ball was well thrown by Mertz and should have been either a completion or it should have been a first down. And so you want to show the plays that would have resulted in first downs with the right call, not to say, oh, look at this call, it's garbage. There's bad calls every game, right? You have to be good enough to be able to make more than just a few plays. But obviously there's another one there that Florida would have had a first down on in this 2-minute drill and did not get one. 2nd and 10 now for Florida. One thing that's been evident to me in Mertz's game as a inside the pocket scrambler is once he has to stay inside the pocket stepping up, he generally loses, I think, focus of where his receivers are, right? We saw Kyle Trask wearing a Florida uniform who was a magician in these situations. He was navigating inside the pocket, always keeping his eyes downfield and finding the best target. Ricky is wide open. There's tons of grass in here. Mertz should easily be able to have his back foot hit the ground as it does. Again, speed rush off the edge. This stuff will get in your head as a quarterback, right? You're constantly being speed rushed. You can't get to your spot and stand there. That is suboptimal. But as he pushes up here, we have a nice job here by the interior of the O-line. Drive right there, and now you're good. You're good. If your eyes are downfield, you should know that Ricky's clapping for the ball, and he is wide open here on 2nd and 10. Instead, he does what Mertz tends to do the most, which is lock down to his check down and just get rid of it. But Ricky is wide open for a big play. He's wide open when your back foot hit. Now, I think Mertz looked up here first. Back foot hits. Ideal world, you get a chance to see this. I don't know that Mertz does, but right here, you got to keep your eyes to this route first, then come down, right? Let's say your read pattern is here to here to here. Don't shortcut this once you clear it up. He does, and that winds up going for nothing. 3rd and 10 now for Florida. On this channel, you've heard me talk a lot about rub routes and how much I love them, how much I celebrated them versus South Carolina. Well, in this game, we're seeing a lot more of some of what Billy tends to do more often, in my opinion, which is just take your ISO fade right here, take your ISO go. To me, they're in man here, right? Let's go back to some of these rub concepts. I just think they're a lot easier, especially because we don't have like a dude. No offense to Khalil, solid, great hands, right? Played quarterback in high school. Probably an underrated guy as a receiver in general, but this is not a matchup versus Georgia where you're like, this is an awesome win. Just chuck them a fade. Probably need to help. We're not going to help here. A little play action on 3rd down, something Florida also loves to do. No one's buying that. Nobody cares. Either way, here we go. And he's on top of the route. That is not happening, right? There's no world that's happening in. Give him a chance. And, if that ball's thrown lower, maybe Khalil gets it, right? He does have a chance, but on 3rd and 10, it feels like perhaps, you might be able to get something better going than a literal one-option route, right? This is not really even a real thing here. We're going here. That's where the ball's going. We're taking that fade route one-on-one. Executed not correctly. Still complaining about a call here on that one. I think that one is really just fine in that case. That's just good defense. And Florida stopped on 3rd down and 10 before the half. Had something cooking. All for naught. And we're going to enter the half with Florida down a disappointing 26-7. 1st and 10 now for Florida, coming out after a stop at halftime from the Gators defense. So get a touchdown here, reset the game, put some game pressure on Georgia. Get into that, toughest lead in sports, 2-0. Right, it's the hardest emotional lead in sports. And here we go. A play that you have seen Florida run a million times. Going to fake the split zone run here and then send Arliss out one-on-one versus a tight end. Again, I really wanted to see Florida attempt to abuse this matchup versus Georgia's tight ends. It did not happen enough, in my opinion. Here's a simple play to Arliss. Ball's behind him some. You wish that was a little bit more in front of him for perfection. But Arliss still able to turn this into a nice stiff arm and a 1st down. These are the kind of matchups Florida needed more often. They needed to attack Georgia's linebackers. Just didn't quite do it, in my opinion, enough. But Arliss picks up a 1st down on the play. We've seen Florida run a lot in those situations inside the 10-yard line. 2nd down and 9. This play perhaps describes what it's like to play against Georgia sometimes. I want you to watch this play out, and I want you to watch Montrell. I'm not going to say anything, just watch Montrell. There he is. Let's watch him now. Keep your eye on him. Makes a block and then is frustrated. That is the look of frustration. And then, right, there's a point. Hey, man. Like, hey, Trey, bro, I know you're balling and all that stuff, but, like, what are you doing? Like, get up. Dude, you're not blocking for you out there. What are you doing? Shake your head. You think it's Trey's fault. You're like, man, my guy, I know you're good and all, but, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Well, let's show you what's going on. What's going on is Georgia right here getting a nice big fat win. So Florida is going to simulate or show, right, a guard tackle counter. That's the fake they are trying to execute in this play. And they are hoping that what happens will not happen, which is that Kingsley is going to be able to get over here and get a block right here on the tackle. Get a block on the tackle before he can shoot upfield and ruin this play. Well, does that happen? No, it does not. Georgia, 5 stars. It makes a difference. Elite tackles, quick speed, right? They are bursting off the ball and flying into this plane. The best way to disrupt any of these slow developing run plays is to get penetration and move the runner off the spot. And what Montrell thinks is supposed to happen is Kingsley's supposed to come over here and get this block. And by getting this block here, Trey then is going to, I'll pause it. Imagine this block is happening. Trey's coming right here. Let's roll this out. Where now Montrell's got a block. We got a block here, and Trey's coming through this hole. And then, one more time, block here and a block here. We're coming out this way. We're going this way, right? That's the play. That's the design. And Trey says, hey, man, that's cool and all, but I've got a defensive tackle who somehow is way faster than a defensive tackle should be in my grill. I can't make that cut. I'm going to try to run out here. Okay, there's another guy in my grill, and yet there's another guy in my grill. And then Montrell's like, bro, man, what is the deal? We are getting clapped out here. We can't run the play right. But the reality is, Georgia makes things tough on you, especially when they're getting a pretty good bead on what Florida wants to run. 3rd and 11 for Florida. Not a recipe for success versus Georgia. Georgia lining up in man. We can obviously run another fade right here, Khalil, if we want, or we can work the bunch set this time. If you're guessing Florida's going to run the bunch, you're right. If you're guessing and hoping we're going to run rub routes, please run a rub route. Run a rub route. Please run a rub route. What did Florida run? Well, we got the all-22 to look at here. And again, I'd love to use the all-22 on every single play because I know that visuals and pictures are worth a lot more than the words I tell you. And that way you wouldn't have to trust when I'm telling you this is what's actually happening on the back end. You could just see it. And so let's see for yourself what Florida runs here on this play, and you will get the idea. Ricky's going to run a dig. There's your dig. Here comes your pivot or your out route. And there's Trey on, of course, if you guessed a hitch, that is correct. That's hitch. And then there is Khalil at the bottom of your screen, who actually wins on this go route, but also has a safety basically sitting over top of it. So a lot of routes out there. Where do you want to go if you're the quarterback? You tell me where you want to go. Not going to go there. That's short of the sticks. That's obviously dead. This is really the only place that's dead. Only place to go is right here. Take a shot at it, see what happens, and does not happen. Does not happen. But unfortunately, again, Florida here relying on, these are all just solo routes. Someone's got to win. I know you can say that until you're blue in the face, but also you can try to help. Not a lot of help there. Doesn't work out. Good defense by Georgia, and they get another stop. 1st and 10, Trey in motion. This time they're going to make sure the corner is always covering Trey, rather. That's smart. They're not going to allow a safety anymore to guard him. Their corners are going to be guarding him. They're giving him full respect. Nice little tactical adjustment. And Georgia going to win again here. You have Leonard in the hole waiting. And look, this is what's difficult, right? If you look at coaching, what's happening here, the offensive line is in perfect shape. It's a one-on-one battle versus a linebacker. We've seen this story before, whether it's a running back or it's Richie Leonard at guard, and that's an easy win. He blows by Leonard. Leonard doesn't even really touch him. And now we've got a throw. We got hands in our throw window, and that ball gets batted down when it would have been an easy 8 or 9 yards or potentially more. Trey, who was open on a hitch route on the sideline, and instead that play right there goes that way. And, that's obviously frustrating. O-line again, just not getting the job done. Tail of the tape thus far in this fight, not a good one, right? That's not ideal. That's not ideal. That's definitely not ideal. Georgia, again, just kind of walking over Florida. Florida not competitive here for Georgia in this game, not providing a challenge for them. Certainly providing good times for Georgia and their fans, but not really a challenge. However, Richie Leonard here is frustrated with his previous blocking performance. He's going to take it out right here and really move this over here. Nice job to create the kind of gap Florida wants to create, even though we get thrown to the ground and cast aside right here. Again, cast aside, bye-bye, sit down, you're not strong enough. He has to hurdle him, and he's too low to get him, right? Kind of comical. Like, he absolutely just annihilates. I mean, this is destruction right here. This right here is destruction. I mean, that's a bad look. I got to hurdle you, and because I got to hurdle you, I can't actually get to ETN. Good, thank you. Great, we'll take it. ETN with a nice chunk yardage. 1st and 10 here for the Gators. Still trying to drive, get something done. Flea flicker. Open, completion, nice. Let's look at the all-22 and see exactly what happened here and why this play worked. Right there, you're going to pull your corner in as you get Trey running out. There's your flea flicker, and now he recognizes, oh no, I'm the only one back, right? We are the two deeper defenders responsible for the side. I'm in trouble. I'm also the only deep defender responsible for that side. I'm in trouble. This play has really worked, right? Trey is actually wide open. If he wants to go for the home run, Trey is here. And really, that ball could be thrown to Trey. Also, Ricky's wide open. Let's take Ricky. We'll take Ricky for the safe yardage and pick up a nice completion. Now, why maybe did we not elect to go for Trey? Well, because we got a guy coming in our face once again. And also take the safe money here unless you had time to make a good throw to a wide open receiver. But Florida does win significantly on this play. If you could just get better blocking, Florida's kind of always one guy away. Maybe you get this one too. Right? Better blocking allows your quarterback to wait a quarter second and decide if it's worth slinging one of these instead of taking that one, which is still nice, but nicer would be any one that results in perhaps a touchdown. Either way, great play design on the flea flicker there. That one worked really well. Florida picks up a first down. All right, 1st and 10. Trey up top of the screen facing a corner. Motioning in. Now we got the safety coming down again. We know we're in cover one high, and if we're in cover one high, you know we're going to Trey. We saw it in the first drive, and this is awesome. Look, there's some serious encouragement in this game, and his name is Trey, and he's wearing number 3 because look at this. He is inside leveraging this. He's way inside. He is telling Trey, I am not letting you run a slant on me. You will not run a slant on me. And Trey says, no worries, man. I'm running a slant on you. I'm going to juke 14 times over here. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, as soon as I get you off balance, look at how off balance he gets him, right? His whole body is open now. Trey knows he can face cut him, and he cannot keep up with him. He's going to create that slant window. He wins despite all those shenanigans. He wins at the exact right time. And now, ball placed well. And that is how you pick up 7 yards, right? That's an individual one-on-one win, man-to-man. And that's why I think Billy had success at Louisiana. When he got it going, he had guys that were consistently winning their one-on-one matchups. And now, all of a sudden, not running rub routes and just running whatever route you want to run looks a lot better when you're taking a slant route here and you're killing a guy who's literally supposed to be playing inside leverage and making you go out here, and you're still getting him. That's good stuff. Sometimes, if some is good, more is not always better. Now, on 3rd down, pretty good passing. 4 of 6 for 2 first downs. And then you think, wait a minute, how is he 4 of 6 on 3rd down but only has 2 first downs? Well, because we're throwing short of the sticks, obviously. It's a problem. Check down completions, right? So not so good. Really, that's, 2 of 6 is what you're really looking at there. 2 of 6 in completions that matter. But regardless, a lot of that's not always on Mertz, as we've talked about. So 3rd down and 8. What do we get here? What do we see? We see a motion. We see what looks to be man defense. And if it's man defense, you know what we're running. Everyone knows what we're running. We're running a slant route again because we got that junk. We got that on lock. And Georgia says, look, you've gone to the well a lot of times. This safety is going to read Mertz's drop. As soon as Mertz sits, he knows, okay, the ball's probably coming here. Make sure I don't get pump faked. I'm not going to get pump faked. I'm staying far enough away to stay on top of a slant and go, which would be a very likely and solid route for Florida to try to run here. Instead, we're going to stick this slant short of the sticks and trust that Trey will make magic happen. And in reality, he's going to get leveled. Stick mode right here by Georgia. And Trey gets right up, which I love. But I mean, look, if you're Trey, you're like, come on, coach. Don't make me keep going to the well. Please let me run a different route. At least let me hit a sluggo one time so they respect it. But instead, he gets creamed on that hit. And it brings up 4th down. 4th and 3. Florida's running back versus linebacker, something we called for on the pod, something I want, something I like. Motion across with Arliss. Here we go. We are in man defense. We know we're in man, which means we know we're locked up here, and we're locked up here. A lot of stuff we can try and do. A lot of stuff we can make happen. Right, of course, if this were Dan Mullen, you already know what would be happening, and that would be clear out route, wheel route. Let's hit that junk. Got that junk on lock. We've seen it before. Let's do it. We called for it on the podcast. Let's try at least one. Looks like a wheel. Looks like a wheel. Not a wheel. All right. Now, I want to talk about something in a second. But right now, look at the line that Georgia's linebackers are taking. Do you think they were ready for the wheel? You tell me. What does that look like? That man is playing the wheel. Georgia, under Kirby Smart, is probably never going to get wheel routed like that again. I mean, they don't care who's coaching. Their linebackers are going to be way off of that. Regardless, what is Florida running here? So we're trying to get in the way. We're going to block. We're trying to get in the way of this route, right? So that basically the traffic is here. So this ball can be thrown short of the sticks to ETN, and then he can one-on-one pass a linebacker. However, here's a nice counter to that. If you think that they're going to run over the top of whatever screen you're setting here with your rub, then you know what you should do is just hit this route, right? Instead, Florida's content to stop his momentum. Something that drives me insane about some of the detailed things Florida does is why are you going to have your running back stop their momentum? Should this ball be thrown here? Yes, it should. It's not a great ball. But regardless, you're having him open all the way up like this. He's going backwards. He is going backwards. The defender is coming downhill. Never gets a chance to make a move, right? I'll take ETN in space, the old Urban Meyer rules. I will take ETN in space if he can catch the ball, and then you get 10 right here. I'll take that all day. It's not what's happening. Most importantly, if you're going to run this concept here, I like the concept. Why don't you sell this? It's been on film forever. Georgia thinks you're running wheel. The crowd thinks you're running wheel. Look wheel, snap in here. And now imagine that play call. There is no chance in the world if ETN snaps right here. He's getting to it. Easy pitch and catch and probably a big play, right? Something you could expect to get facing Kirby, knowing Kirby's not going to let you do that. We set up a similar kind of idea for that, but again, just hoping to get enough rub there to kind of squeak across the first down line, and painfully, Florida is short. And once again, there it is, the Mertz. Man, that's just annoying. I mean, that's the play he's got called on. He's got to throw it. That's it. That's how we all feel. 2nd and 7, Florida getting thoroughly clapped out of this game. Again, a walkover. The game is over. Florida's going to pick up a decent amount of yards in the fourth quarter to make this look a lot better than it was on the stat sheet. But these stats obviously aren't really going to matter. But I'm going to show you this play because it's kind of an ode to last year. We saw Florida do a really nice job running these zone plays where frequently you would have seen the law firm last year kicking out everything this way like this, and then down here sealing everything this way. So you had a nice hole to run through. And you get kind of a baby-fied version of that on 2nd and 7. You still have a linebacker waiting in the hole, but Montrell makes him miss, and we are off to the races. Like the good old days of last year where Florida, of course, did not have a great record, but did have a pretty decent offensive line, relatively speaking. Nice big run there from Montrell. Obviously, 36-7. Not a lot to celebrate. I'm glad he doesn't celebrate this. He just, wisely, I think, gets it. We're getting cranked. Not about me having a nice big run. Let's get back to the huddle run the next play. 2nd and 7. Give me some running back versus linebacker action, please. Thank you very much. There's your matchup. Already inside of him as we race to the outside here. Nice play design. Bringing the H-back Hansen around. Got a block here. Got a block potentially here, but he decides I don't need it. Let's kick out here and go for glory. There you go. There you go. And let's leave him alone, right? Good decision as Montrell gets out the backside and almost scores a touchdown. So nice work there, taking advantage of a linebacker versus a running back. 2nd and goal, Florida just trying to get in the end zone here to make it look better. Motion across from Ricky. Nice play design here with the backfield fakes. We've seen this before, but they're going to work better when you slip out a guy that no one's really expecting here in Hansen. Fake to Montrell, fake the orbit to Ricky. Nice toss fake, even though Florida never tosses this ball in this play. Still nice toss fake. This guy right here eats it like it's his favorite piece of cake coming through. Nom, 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 nom. Uh-oh, I got a guy open. I know it's me. Hey, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Boom. Gets there just in time. Nice work. Good eye candy. Touchdown, Florida. 2-point conversion. We're going to go running back, linebacker matchup again, and I'm here for it. And this time we're going to run, kind of a route we talked about earlier. Not the best looking route from ETN, but this. What is this? What do you call that? Obviously, you can contact guys. Like you can hit them and reroute them. But that, I mean, I might call that holding and/or pass interference, but it's not going to matter. Ball gets batted down here. Also, you could have tried to stick this ball to Ricky here, but we're taking a one-on-one route there. ETN looks like he's got a shot to beat him, and that to me looks like holding. Not called, doesn't happen, doesn't matter though, right? This is inconsequential. Just showing you the play that existed. It did not work out for Florida. All right, skipping ahead all the way till the functional end of the game for the Gators, down 43-13 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. This is what this game has been reduced to for Florida. Quarterback sneak. Hey, we didn't quarterback sneak earlier. We're going to try it now. The penetration does stop the play. Nice work by Georgia there, but Mertz able to just sort of lie on the pile and say, you know what, I can roll in. Get a little help there from Trayon Webb. Go ahead and roll in the end zone there. Touchdown. And Mertz wisely does what a good leader should do. Give the ball back to the ref. And again, you're not happy. You're not going to celebrate this. Nothing to celebrate. You're getting smacked. Get back to the sideline. I like this look. This is a good team look. It's what you should be doing as a leader. You just can't get excited about scoring a garbage time touchdown when your rival just crushed you. Not something you want to get hyped about. But either way here, Florida does get a garbage time touchdown, and that essentially does it for the Gators in this football game. We'll leave you there with a shot of the band as they are doing their best to act excited despite the fact that Florida got smacked. Look, the future of Florida football relies with recruiting right now. The on-field results, I think it's safe to say, have been disappointing as we've been chronicling what's happened to Florida. Florida was always going to lose this game in all reality. There was, of course, a chance for an upset. It's college football. But Florida was going to lose. But it's safe to the disappointing way in which Florida lost this game, losing significantly in all three phases, is certainly disappointing. There's ways that Florida can turn this around, obviously with bringing in talented players and being more competitive with Georgia. But here we are 2 years in, both games last year and this year, pretty much the same result, almost the same score, and neither one of them really featured any significant competitiveness as a team from Florida. Not that they weren't trying, but they're just not making Georgia work for anything. And that is the state of where Florida football is right now. Of course, if you want a lot more information on that, you can tune into the podcast for our thoughts on where things are going and what to look for. But for now, that will do it for this film review. I will be back next week with a review versus Arkansas, a game that really is a must-win, it feels like, for Florida, given their schedule. As always, I hope you liked this content, and I look forward to being back with you next week. I'm James from the Gator Nation Football Podcast. Go Gators.